Good afternoon for the 5th time this season in TNR, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Spanish Grand Prix. This is qualifying. This is my first flying lap, and sorry to disappoint you, but if you're expecting a great highlight package, a classic race, this isn't the video for you, unfortunately. This is more of a political discussion than that. So we'll start from the start. In qualifying, right at the beginning of the session, everyone, including myself, we were encountering frame rate issues. Clearly,
you're nearly out of fuel, almost out of fuel. You need to pit within the next 2 laps.
A lesser frame rate than usual. Now, it's not really picking it up on my recording here, perhaps due to frequency issues, but you can, if you look very closely at the front nose of my car, see a black line appearing every so often, roughly where the antenna sits. That's not normal. I think that might be some form of evidence to say that there was a frame rate drop. Now, I don't think anyone's going to dispute the fact that there was a frame rate drop and that it occurred at the start of qualifying and continued through the entire session, including the race. Either way, at the time, we went to pole. It wasn't that quick. We should be in the 18s, and in fact no one was able to improve into the 18s. A 19.1 good enough for pole for Maznat, and that was fine. P4 on the grid. At this point, it could have been restarted if the frame rate was an issue. We all could see that the frame rate was still an issue in the race, and there's a bit of lag, but usually there is. At this point, to me it didn't look restart worthy, but Mozza could have said, hey look, the frame rate's an issue for everyone, I think we should restart. And had done it right then, I think that would have been fine, because we have the grid editor to get us back into position. Either way, we move ahead of a Red Bull and fall behind a Sauber, so we stay neutral in terms of position at the start and following Harry Ryan. Now the issues start. Nemo retires from the race. He is the first retirement, and he starts messaging in the chat a couple of things when we're like, okay, maybe he's had a bad race, maybe he's been taken out. I wasn't really sure what had happened to him at that point. Saying, sorry, this is poor, continues to say it's poor basically. He's talking about lag, and we have lag sometimes. That's normal, so to speak. Anyway, lap 3, Mozza lags out of my party. I had been talking to him before that. And then there's some talk of restarting already, which I'd heard nothing about. HSV retires lap 4. Mozza said restart. No, he didn't. There was no point that Nemo could know that we were restarting at that point. A bit of abuse going on, and not sure why Force needs to stay out of it. He's part of the conversation. Either way, the race continues at that point, and Harry Ryan has a bit of a slip up there, and I managed to move up to P3. Wimp and Maznat are currently battling for the lead. Styling is in P5, as far as I could tell. At that point, Mozza started messaging. It's lap 6. Now, he was still in the race. He was AI at the time. He had not left, and was a lap down, basically. He left on lap 9. At this point, there was no concrete decision for a restart. Headshot then retired. At that point, V-Fingers chimed in. He was not in the original start. I don't think it's fair for someone who wasn't originally in the race to be able to get points. If they missed the race, they missed the race. We just passed, by the way, a pitting car. That was Maznat. Headshot's wreckage is there at turn 1. We see that he wasn't affected by lag. He leaves. Antal now wants to get into the restart. He wasn't there either. Shouldn't be getting points out of people who actually attended. Frame rate drop was then brought into the discussion. Dean then is supporting the restart claim, but Nemo sees the correct solution and doesn't follow on with that. I pit myself at the end of lap 11.
Go, go, go. You'll be racing on the exit.
And I come out in 3rd. OP then retires. In the pits was one more car. That was pure contrast. He was yet to pit at the time, so I moved up to P2. Lap 13. Can we restart? That is not something that says we can restart. Indeed, Dean says you're the organiser. Way too late. Headshot's correct there. We're already 13 laps into the race. Can I join if you... I still think V-Fingers... I'm nothing against him, but I don't think people who missed the start should be taking a restart. Mozza at this point still doesn't know what he wants to do. Look, Mozza knows those who are still racing will complain. Force 1 now wants in on it. It would help him if it was next week. That doesn't matter. Maznat has the right idea. He wants to know what's up. We're restarting. First time that was said, lap 17. OP, he's out of the race. He crashed out, says don't restart. He knows what the right thing to do is. Then people start leaving because of Moz's message, including pure contrast. Waffles is still in the race. You can see he set the fastest lap before retiring himself down the bottom there. Then Bozza wants to go without the people who haven't finished. That's no shortage of selfishness. Wayne points out, what if the shoe was on the other foot? There's a bit of rudeness going on. Restarting after your wreck is pretty pathetic. Exactly what I'm thinking. Spot on. People are supporting that, and they are no longer in the race or didn't start it. There's headshots supporting the claim that you shouldn't be taking a restart if you weren't in the original. Nothing about lap 8, that's completely false. Correct, Antel, it is now a circus. Poor communication, contrast is right, that needed to be said. Anyway, by this time, we're actually on the last sector of the race. I couldn't pass Wimp, we had a pretty good yo-yo type of gap going on. Fun battle to try and catch him, I couldn't do it. In the end, he crosses the line ahead of me, winning the race and thereby outscoring me in any scenario of a red flag for points or getting full points. As a championship contender, why would I want the championship leader to score more points than me? Why would I be arguing for him to be essentially given free points when the decision has already been made against awarding points to the Spanish Grand Prix finishers, as was the stewards' decision after this race? I'm not sure if the stewards had all the information they needed. Certainly people were saying lap 8 was when the restart was called. That was entirely false. The results are there. You can see 6th to 10th. We can figure out who they were despite the AI being shown if you want to award points for lap 14, as I think should happen. Either way, I've been Jacko. See you in Monaco. The fact of the matter is, on whatever lap Moza actually said restart for the first time, which I believe was lap 14, clearly it should be a red flag. At that point, people started leaving based on his decision. There was no rerun, so we have no other points to give for the Spanish Grand Prix, and in real life, this is essentially a red flag. Half points awarded.